Hoverfish asks, whenever I fly, all the small adjustments are really choppy. I don't know if it's my tune or I'm just stressed. Well, I'm going to guess it's you. It's your fingers. A lot of times people want to blame a PID tuning issue on what is really a pilot tuning issue, a finger tuning issue. I was flying today. I was doing a hover test, and I was curious how long. Let me show you what I was working with. Oh, I was flying this battery. Upgrade Energy Gold Dark Lithium. This battery is rated at 21.6 amp hours. So this is a 2,160 milliamp hour battery. In case you're wondering, yes, this is an extraordinarily small battery for that number. This uses the Amprius SA08 cell. This is a $1,500 battery. Rough, I don't know. I look it up. It's an expensive freaking battery. It uses these new silicone anode cells. Upgrade Energy Gold. Gold 6S2P SAO3. These are the SAO8s. Where's the SAO8 version? SAO8. Yeah, that's a $1,300 battery. 1305. 6S2P. However, it's so expensive because these silicone anode batteries just literally fit more energy into the same space. They're 2 or 3 times as energy dense as a standard LiPo. And so I was doing a hover test on this battery. And I hovered for 45 minutes before I was like, I think I have all the data I need. And I stopped. The battery was not empty. And the whole time I was doing this, I was just like hovering in place, drifting slightly, drifting. I was mostly trying not to fall asleep. I actually reached a point where I almost, you know how you get like highway hypnosis? You're driving a car on the highway, whoosh, the sound of the engine, the sound of the highway, it kind of just lulls you into a hypnotic state and you fall asleep and you crash your car and it's bad. I experienced that while I was doing this hover test. I almost found myself like kind of zoning out and falling asleep under the goggles because I was so goddamn bored. But what I thought about just how small the finger movements I was making were as I was hovering. I was going from 15% to 16% to 17% to 16.5% throttle, trying to find, because I was bored, trying to find a throttle position where I was hovering perfectly. And I was making the tiniest little movements to make the quad drift slowly just so I could just, not have to constantly be flying it as I did this test. I really thought about how fine a pilot's stick movements are, how precise and how small they are. Whenever I teach people how to fly, one of the biggest challenges is somebody comes in and they've only ever played Xbox and they're used to just making these great big movements with their fingers. And the movements that sometimes it is as little as just a feeling of pressure on the stick. You don't even feel the stick move and you get a change. So I think it's not PID tuning. PID tuning, unless your PID tune is radically wrong, is not going to make your quad jerky. It's almost certainly your sticks, and you just need to practice getting smoother and making smaller stick movements. That's the answer.
Hey, can I give another suggestion as to what might be wrong?
Yeah, Blunty, go for it.
It's very common for new pilots to apply a packet rate in ExpressLRS that is way too high. Because they think the higher number is better.
Oh, you're talking about the RC Link preset.
Yeah, if you've chosen like 500 hertz ExpressLRS, but you haven't set a preset in Betaflight, you might find that there is some weird choppiness in the response.
Interesting. Let's see. That's going to be, we're going here into Betaflight Configurator. We go to the Presets tab, and we've got these RC Link presets right here. Let me zoom in here. We got these RC Link presets. And you're going to, if you're, for example, doing ExpressLRS, you're going to pick the preset that matches or is as close as possible to your actual packet rate. But like somebody could just set this 500 hertz one if they're not doing 500 hertz, and that messes you up. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, but in the same way, 500 hertz would feel like that if you had only set at 50 hertz, like if you hadn't changed the preset originally,
Interesting.
because you're feeding too heavy into Betaflight, and then you're going to get weird adjustments in the feed forward
Okay.
and stuff.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, the feed forward could definitely make something jerky. I'm curious just how much effect that would have. I've heard of situations where, like, if you're running at a high packet rate and you have a low, if you're running at like 1,000 hertz, but you're on the Betaflight defaults, so Betaflight is too low relative to your actual packet rate, you get like hot motors and weird sounds from the motors, weird twitching. Um, I'm not sure what would happen if it was the other way around. If Betaflight was over filtering,
Oh yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
I would imagine it's too smooth, right? The line would be too smooth, too damped, but I'm
Well,
not.
I
Or
don't know. I don't know. You have a good point though. You would want to
yeah,
make sure that that was correct.
but
Like, for
But yeah, like you
example,
said, the main
yeah,
thing we know is wrong is if you have too low of a thing in Betaflight and you're too high of a rate, which I think is the most common thing. Like you don't set a preset
yeah,
in Betaflight
yeah,
and then you have a high pack rate on the radio. It's very common. So yeah, I just want to make sure that was checked. But the other
yeah.
way, I'm
Because
not
like
sure.
like Radio Master ships their radios set to the F1000 packet rate, which is the lowest latency packet rate. But then if you use that with Betaflight defaults and you don't set the Betaflight preset, it can cause real problems. And it gives shorter range too, which kind of seems silly that they ship with the shortest range packet rate, because then people who don't know are just like, why do I have shitty range? I thought Espresso was so good. It's like, well, that's not what it's for.